at the exact same time and exact same moment? Meaning, has there been something that's happened in your life or something that you've seen or something that you're connected to that would make you very, very proud, happy, and glad that you can be, even if it's big, small, indifferent, a part of, that makes you happy and sad at the same exact time? As an example, it happened to me today. I'm sure some of it happened to you, but it certainly happened to me today because officially 3 of the 5 offensive rookies of the year were on LSU's football team last year. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jaden Daniels all are finalists for the offensive rookie of the year. Now, it's of my humble opinion that Jaden Daniels is going to win that award. He deserves to win the award. He's the best rookie in all of the NFL. Hell, he was the best player in college football a year ago, so nothing's really shocking in that regard. The sad part about that is that you did not have, and nor did you build, or nor that you could sustain, nor did you have the staff or the play calling that could have led you to potentially a national title run a year ago. And that in and of itself stings. You know, Brian Kelly mentioned that they did not want to go over the cap last year when it came to the transfer portal. Why? You had 3 of the offensive rookie of the year finalists. Why? I don't believe Brian Kelly when he says that. And I don't believe when he says that we didn't want to go over the cap because, quite frankly, they couldn't because they didn't have the money. But what I do know is that you're going to live and learn, and that's going to be a hard truth that you're going to have to overcome, and it stings. But there also is another thing about that with 3 LSU Tigers, 2 from the state of Louisiana, and a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Jaden Daniels, that you continue through this state and through this university, continue to take over sports. You know, I don't think of just Jaden, which we'll get to in just a second. I think of Major League Baseball when Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens especially took over Major League Baseball this year in a lot of regards. I think of women's basketball and Angel Reese and what Kim Mulkey is doing in the game that they have tomorrow that will be in primetime situation on a Friday night when there's no football. I think about the 4 national titles that you've won in 5 different sports in 5 different years. That in and of itself is impressive. I think about what Jay Johnson, who we're going to talk about tonight, in the offensive side of things of what he has as a team, how it's absolutely loaded, and he could be preparing LSU and LSU fans for yet another national title run. But I could sit here and I would love to talk about Malik. I would love to talk about BTJ, and we can. Guys, there was a duo. There's been duos of wide receivers at LSU, whether it be Odell and Jarvis, whether it be Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, and now whether it be Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. Guys, it just continues to happen here. The ironic thing in that is that every one of those receivers have come from one state. These transformational guys have come, actually and ironically, all from the same damn near geographical place in southern Louisiana. They've taken over the sport. Brian Thomas Jr. had a quarterback that got hurt at the end of the year, and former Heisman finalist Mac Jones comes in, and he continues to go off. Malik Neighbors, his quarterback, gets cut in the middle of the season, doesn't really bother him none, and he tests his frustrations with the organization when they're not getting the football in close situations and close games. And when they do, ironically, they won a game. I think it was week 16. But Jaden Daniels and what he has done this year in the NFL should not surprise anybody. You know, in the pre-draft process, we clipped it, put it on Twitter, and we reshared it for you. The interesting thing about Jaden Daniels, what we said then and what has played out to be absolutely true and realistic at the time that we said it and the time that it is now. He was always and by far the best player, not only in college football a year ago, but he was the best player in the draft. I do have people tell me that it's a little too early to say that. I don't believe that. Because knock on wood, and God forbid that he stays healthy, he's going to continue to do this. He's one of, if not the toughest individuals to guard. And by the way, he's a rookie. What you've done at quarterback since 2019 at LSU when you had a coach that could not throw shit at a wall to find a quarterback to save your life. Now you have 2 Heisman Trophy winners, one guy that went on to the NFL and got to a Super Bowl, and another one that's very likely and has a chance to do the same exact thing. Jane Daniels is special. Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors are also very special. But, man, it does, in the back of my mind, always hurt to think about what could have been last season if defensively you had a pulse and you didn't stink. But Jayden Daniels, for what it's worth, has and will continue to be, in my humble opinion, the best player in last year's draft. What he does, what he did here, what he did in 2023, hell, what he did in 2022, in a lot of moments and times. What he's doing in the NFL is nothing short of something that, quite frankly, we probably haven't seen yet. Now, a lot of people say Lamar Jackson is the comp. I'm sorry to tell you, in my humble opinion, here's another take that I fully believe. He's by far and head and shoulders above Lamar when it comes to throwing the football. Now, people will talk about the regular season. BS. This man took a team that was going to be averaging 6.5 wins, or the over-under was 6.5 wins, to a game away from the Super Bowl. You should remember how much he propelled you, if you're an LSU fan, a season ago. But Jayden Daniels is far and beyond the offensive rookie of the year. And people will say, well, what about Brock Bowers? He broke a record. And I would say, well, Jayden Daniels led a team to one game to a Super Bowl. One does not equate the other. And I think Brock Bowers maybe and probably is a generational player, but there is a difference about quarterback. Now, people get upset and mad. Oh, these awards are quarterback awards. Well, yes, because when the game was on the line in Detroit a couple of weeks or last week, and Jayden Daniels outruns the entire team to get to the edge and gets a first down to end and win a football game, Brock Bowers isn't doing that. Now, I'm not saying that he couldn't, but he's not a quarterback. That's why those guys win the award. It's the most important position in sports. I can make the argument that being a pitcher is right there with it, if not number one, but you get my gist. He's special, man. He's special. And I think that this place in LSU, for what it's worth, whether it be Joe Burrow, Kevin Falk, Glenn Dorsey, Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, whoever you want to put in this category of what I'm about to list, Jayden Daniels and Joe Burrow deserve and have earned a statue outside of Death Valley. I don't know what takes him so long. Well, there's all these excuses about schedules and this going on and that going on. Bullshit. Go look at another SEC team in Oklahoma and what they do for Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks and Heisman Trophy winners just in general. Man, what we saw a year ago was special, and I don't know if we will ever see it again. I don't know if I'll ever see it in my lifetime. And that's okay, because I'll remember all the good stuff. But what that young man did at quarterback a year ago was nothing short of spectacular. All right, let's get to it. So LSU has, not officially yet, but per Football Scoop, is going to be hiring a special teams coordinator or analyst that has been involved with special teams and running backs. We'll talk about that in Amon Anon. So we'll talk about him and what that may be. After that, we'll get to a break. We'll go into some baseball. There are 11 guys that played in college baseball a year ago, not counting JUCO. The returning production for LSU baseball and the production that you have it coming in, what you're at right now from a statistical analysis standpoint, eye test, and where you could go. We'll talk about that. I think LSU is completely loaded offensively. I think Jay's arguably got one of the best problems in the country, if not the best problem in the country, because not all of these guys are going to play. But, man, I tell you one thing. They got some serious competition and some serious talent, so we'll talk about that. Like we do on every Tuesday and Thursday, at least what we try to do on every Tuesday and Thursday at the end of the show, we'll do hashtag Ask Blake thoughts, questions, concerns. Everything that you want to get to, we will try to get to it here as we wrap the week up. Lee says that JD is like Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson on steroids. I do think that there are some things that Lamar does in the running game that not that Jaden can't do it, but I don't know if he's better than Jaden, but there are moments and times where I feel like he's a little bit more explosive in some situations, not taken away. But the counterpart of that is when you need Jaden Daniels to throw the ball into the end zone to score and for him to throw a dot downfield, he's going to do it because he's head and shoulders better, I think, number one, as just a pure thrower of the football. But I think that Jaden Daniels is better as a decision maker, not even in the pocket, just in general. Like whatever he does, like the decisions that he makes propels his team to win. Guys, quite frankly, I mean, Jaden Daniels has gotten to a conference championship game before Lamar in 1 year. So the Commanders are going to continue to get better. I pray to God that they get him some defense. I pray to God that they get him some protection. Emory Jones will be around there. The time that they select, they need offensive line help. They need defensive line help. They need everything. Guys, they're one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They're 28th out of 32 teams in total defense. Nothing is new for Jaden Daniels when it comes to having a bad defense. Guys, look at the Detroit game. Look at other games that you've seen, the Eagles game, the Hail Mary earlier in the year. I mean, quite frankly, guys, he has had to put teams on his back the last 2 seasons, and I could make the argument he had to do it in 22 as well. But, I mean, what happens for Jaden Daniels when he gets a complete team? 2022, he didn't have it. 2023, he didn't have it. This year, he doesn't have it. What happens when he's around a team that can make a stop defensively and it's not one of the worst teams in the NFL, not one of the worst teams defensively in college football? What happens then? Now, he's not perfect, and he's got a long way to go, and I'm sure he would tell you that. I'm sure his camp would tell you that he's got a long way to go. But it's amazing to me that we look at that and say that, oh, Brock Bowers did this, Brock Bowers did that. Are you guys? For me, I'm not calling you this. Are you Looney Tune? Are you a Looney Tune? Because I know that we get tired of the quarterback conversation. There's no bigger position in sports, guys. He's out there doing things that nobody can do. The fake draw downfield pass that he connected on last week, it's insane, man. It's insane. Rusty is in Mobile, Alabama. The 251 is in the house. Good to have you in here. Todd Davis is in the 504. Vic says Jaden Daniels for MVP next season. Could happen, man. The kid's special. Brett is in the Music City. Good to have you with us, Brett. Donna is in Cedar Point, Georgia. Where is Cedar Point, Georgia? Where is Cedar Point? Philip Rose says, hey, Blake, what can you tell us about LSU new coach Anand? We'll talk about that coming out of the break. It's going to be a very interesting conversation, I'll tell you that. Nothing finalized yet. Football Scoop had reported it, but we're definitely going to talk about it. That is for sure. Todd Davis says JD5 could become the greatest rookie quarterback ever. I don't know if he's not the greatest rookie quarterback ever, if I'm being frank. But I can't come out here and say that because, number one, you think that I'm biased anytime I talk about him, which I fully am to some extent because he's an LSU guy. But coming from an LSU guy, it's going to be taken as bias. Like if I came out in this show and I said that Jaden Daniels was the best rookie quarterback of all time because I'm wearing LSU stuff and we got LSU stuff all around here, anybody that would see this video or anybody watch this live show, we're like, that guy's biased. We're not going to listen to him. Then you're going to have to explain what happened in Detroit last week. You're going to have to explain the Hail Mary. You're going to have to explain the throw that he had to Zach Ertz against Philadelphia, who he's going to see in the conference championship game to win that game in the regular season. Guys, the dude had one of the worst defenses in the NFL. He had one of the worst defenses in college football, and it never stopped him. Guys, this is the crazy thing about Jayden Daniels. Whether it be in the NFL or in college football, there have been multitudes of times where he's had to be perfect for his team to win, and then he was, and we don't understand it, and we don't rationalize it. Guys, this defense is giving up 31 points, about to give up 38. He's got to be the one to get them over that hump. That is insanity. Pure insanity. So, yeah. John is in the 605, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Good to have you in here. High Point Media, who said he lost his girlfriend yesterday to us, says eating froyo and watching AYS. Well, good that you're eating some yogurt. You're eating your feelings away. I feel you. I understand that. Here's what I'm going to try to convince you of very quickly. What I'm going to try to convince you of very quickly is eat a healthy diet. Blake, you're a big dude. Well, I used to be even bigger than this. So, hopefully on March 13th, we put out a post and it's like, hey, man, we're 100 down. I don't know what froyo is. I'm assuming it's frozen yogurt. Probably it is frozen yogurt. But, yeah, eat a healthy diet. Get strong, lean, all that good stuff. Corey Hunt says, I have a question. Where the hell did you find 9.5 sized hat? 9.5 size hat. Would you say my head's big? No, I mean, the hats that we wear, like I have a fitted LSU one. My fitted LSU one's 7 1/4, I think, or 7 3/4, I think. I'm not sure. He says it's freaking huge. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that. I have to do the one button in. I don't have a big head. But I have been noticing that a lot of people have been coming in here the last 2 weeks to take physical personal shots at your boy. I've been noticing that. Corey, send me a picture of you. I bet you. No, you ain't teasing. No, uh-huh. He puts in there, I'm teasing, bro. Uh-huh. Yeah, you teasing now. Uh-huh. Like that guy with the mustache yesterday. Bro, if you're going to clown me on physical appearance, you better look like Adonis the God. I promise you. That's what she said. All right. Let's not talk about my physical appearance. Even though you're not here to look at me, you're here to talk sports. Let's get to it. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those groups. If you are on Facebook and to all those social media pages, you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Before we get rolling, let's talk about our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy, underdogfantasy.com. Guys, I am not a massive fantasy player, but I know that a lot of you are. You need to get in touch with and you need to be a part of Underdog Fantasy today. If you use the promo code AYS, that's AYS, you should know you're on the show with us right now. AYS, you have the chance to win up to $1,000 in bonus monies. You also get a free selection pick. Go to underdogfantasy.com. That's underdogfantasy.com to get your fantasy game on today. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we got a lot of LSU football stuff to talk about. We'll talk some LSU baseball. We'll get it rolling, man. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
We call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I did see it. That's what she said. That is what she said. I did see this from Trey. I wanted to get to it because it was about my son Ben. He said, Blake, how's Ben Snowman doing? We actually, I'm pretty sure I didn't say this, but in case I did, we were not able to build one. We tried, we couldn't do it. We had a snowball fight though. He says, how's it doing? Melted. He says, go Tigers, ready for baseball season. Yeah, man. Ben was a little upset today that the snow had melted. But to be honest with you, I'm good with it being 2 days and it being out here. John says, now Blake knows how I feel trying to pronounce Louisiana town names. Sioux Falls. Okay. I got you. Corey, I know, bro. Just chill out, man. I'm with you. We're good. Got to be a little entertaining up here. All right, let's get to it. So, Football Scoop reported late last night, and when by I mean late, I mean it was like 10:30. I literally was laying in bed when this happened. But Football Scoop reported that LSU is going to be bringing in Grambling special team coordinator Aman Anan to their staff as an analyst. Or on their staff. They didn't say an analyst. Let me back that up. But Aman, let's walk through who he is. So Football Scooper's reporting this. So he is a special teams coordinator at Grambling. He's been at big stops in big places before he was the special teams coordinator at Grambling. In the FCS ranks, Grambling State was top 25 in special teams unit. They led the SWAC multiple times and in multiple categories in special teams. Also, he has also was also a running backs coach at Texas Southern, where his group led the SWAC and led the FCS in rushing. Also, he had a number one running back in the FCS when it came to rushing yards. Also, he's been at Baylor and Penn State. And at Penn State, Aman's unit on special teams led the country in block punts. So there's a couple of things that we need to dive into here. Let's get to LSU and why this hire is good and why I think it's good. Number one, Bob Diaco was over special teams for LSU. So when we would go out to practice, whether it be spring, whether it be fall, whenever it was, when we would get out there, LSU would be going through in the early parts of practice special teams drills. They kind of started off practice to get loose through special teams. Bob Diaco was the main guy running those. Every tackling drill on special teams, punt return, kick return, and even field goal. Bob Diaco was over it. Bob Diaco was not an on-field coach. He was an analyst. And Diaco is now going to be the linebackers coach for Bill Belichick at North Carolina. So the vacancy of having a special teams guy is there. Aman Anan is somebody that I did not know before yesterday, but digging into him today, everywhere he's gone, tons of people have been raving about this guy and a lot of things that he has been doing, a big-time up-and-comer, and what he's done at big institutions, and then going into the FCS level at Grambling, having a top 25 special teams unit, and then when he was at Penn State, when they led the country in block kicks. I do like that you, even though it's not on field, are bringing somebody that has been a coordinator and has been in other places where their main focus has been special teams. Bob Diaco was not a special teams guy. Slay Nagel was not a special teams guy. Even though we put that title on him, and even though we wanted to give him that mantra, guys, at no point in time that I was at practice did I see Slay Nagel a year ago running special teams. It was Bob Diaco. So now, let's see if this goes through. This isn't finalized yet, but if this does get finalized, and we're going based off of Football Scoop's report here, I do think that it's really interesting. We talked about this last year with Bob Diaco when he did not get a position coach job at LSU, that you're going to utilize Bob Diaco as a hidden on-the-field coach now that the rule has changed, that analysts can coach on the field. Now, we've been talking about this for weeks, and I've kind of been preparing you for this for weeks about what I think LSU was going to do. You're going to steal one here when it comes to a position coach. The reason you're going to steal one is because you're not officially on field going to have a special teams coordinator, but you're going to have an analyst. And guys, during practice, he can coach. And if we're just being honest, and if we're being point blank and being brutally honest, analysts were coaching during games too, and they always are. They're on the sidelines on every institution and at every place in the country, headsets on, talking to players, over on the whiteboard. I think we would be getting lost in a title of on-field, off-field of what they're doing by saying that Amon Anon would be an analyst. The biggest thing that stood out to me from the LSU side of things was, now that Bob has left, what are you going to do? And I think Brian Kelly did the best thing that he should have done and could have done, and quite frankly, he should have done a long time ago. Since Polian left after the 2022 season, you had not had anybody that was really officially a part of special teams. I know that there are guys, and in other places that they had the special teams labeled. They weren't special teams guys. This guy's been there and done that. Now, I also think it's interesting that he has also been a running backs coach, which I'm going to get to in just a minute too. What's he going to do as an analyst when he's not coaching special teams? Or is he just going to be doing special teams? I do not know. But Anon has been in a lot of big places. Baylor, Penn State, was at Grambling, and they had a top 25 unit. They led multiple categories and statistical categories on special teams. Guys, you need it. Because quite frankly, you need somebody that knows what the hell that they're doing. Now, let's see how this pans out. I do not know how this is going to pan out. I mean, this is a big role. You're going from an analyst at Penn State, an analyst at Baylor, a special teams coordinator at Grambling State, and then he was the special teams coordinator and running backs coach at Texas Southern. But everywhere he's gone, he's been a part of special teams. I think that that's a big deal. Everywhere he's gone, it's been a part of special teams. I think Amon Anon could be one of those guys that you find as a special gem. Here's the big thing about this that I'm really interested in. Excuse me. He's got a lot of players to work with at LSU when it comes to special teams. We saw Aaron Anderson take a kick return to the house this year. We saw Xavion Thomas be very explosive and take one to the house this year. Barrion Brown, the explosive wide receiver that comes to LSU now from Kentucky, guys, he broke an SEC record when it comes to kick and punt returns. You've had a top 25 unit everywhere he's been, and everywhere he's been an analyst, and everywhere he's been a coordinator. Now you come into a situation where you're at LSU and that they need your help desperately, but it's not as if in the return game that you do not have weapons, because you do have weapons. You have three guys that you feel pretty confidently that, given the right scheme, schematic, and situation, that they can take one to the house. We've seen Barry and Brown do it, Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas do it. The last 2 games that LSU has played, in both of them, you have a kick return for a touchdown. I like the move. I like that you're stealing a position coach move. I like that you're bringing someone that's been a part of special teams his entire career. I like that not only that, you have a multitude of weapons. A multitude of weapons that you can utilize and use for certain situations. Hey, who is the best fielder? If they're trying to pin us down into the 10, 5-yard line, who do I know is going to catch the football and get us and has the most awareness to get us in the right situation? Who is just our best overall return guy? Is it Barry and Brown? Is it Aaron Anderson? Is it Xavier Thomas? I don't know. Now you have somebody whose real job it is to take over that. And I'm going to tell you, Bob Diaco wasn't doing that. He was not doing that. As much as I like Bob Diaco, and I have talked to players that were on that team and how much that they love Bob Diaco, I really do not believe that you had somebody that really put all of their focus in on special teams. Guys, it's a third of football. I remember the Texas A&M game. I remember the Florida game. I remember the Alabama game. I remember so many times last year where you sucked. And quite frankly, you had some big moments on special teams this year. You also had some really shitty ones. Now, you went and got a punter out of the transfer portal. Guys, you've sucked punting the football. I hope Amon Anon can come in here and really shake things up on special teams. Guys, I said this last night with Carter, and I'm going to repeat it again. And again, y'all are going to continue to be mad at me about this, but it's just the truth. Teams that do the little things well, teams that are really good defensively, play special teams really good, that can have top 25 units. Ohio State and Notre Dame were in the top 5, just throwing that out there. It's the simple things that can win you football games. Look, I asked some people that cover Penn State for Believe, and they told me that year that he was at Penn State. I mean, it was crazy how many kicks they blocked too. It's not just in the return game that they've been very fascinating. So it's going to be interesting. Another thing about Amon Anon that I'm interested to see. Are you going to do anything with him at running back? I doubt it, but a lot of these analysts, when you're not doing special teams, don't just sit there and go hang out with the kickers the whole time. They're going to be doing other things. They're not going to be with the long snappers and the kickers the entire practice. He has the experience at running back, and who better to get a tutelage under than it being Frank Wilson? I think you have an opportunity here. I think it's a unique hire. Quite frankly, it feels like a Frank Wilson, Brian Kelly coming together hire. Somebody that's in the state, somebody that's had a top unit, somebody that Frank can maybe lean on, that's an on-field coach. I'm interested, and me just saying that, it's not sourcing. It's just strictly opinion about that. But it's got that feel to it. I could be totally wrong there, and maybe I am. But just on the surface of looking at it, it's what it feels like. The other thing and the last thing that I want to touch on here before we talk about some other things surrounding LSU football-wise. I think that there's a shift at LSU right now when it comes to on and off field positions. The roles of Nick Brissett, Jacoby Stevens, and others. Guys, that money that you're spending for people like that, you're going to go actually get people that have been coaching, not guys that are pretending. And I hate to say that about former Tigers, but it's the truth. You don't need somebody over high school relations. Quite frankly, you don't. No high school head coach in the state of Louisiana is picking up the phone calling Nick Brissett or whoever would have been in that position. They're picking up the phone when they need something and they're calling Frank Wilson, and that's just the truth. That's the stone cold truth. When they need something, they're going to Frank. If they need something, they're going to somebody that they have a connection to. They're not going to Nick Brissett. They're just not. So now that analysts can be on the field and during practices and coach, and quite frankly, let's call it what it is, now that we've seen them during games constantly coaching players, it makes logical sense to go out and get a special teams coordinator. You don't have to make them on field, but you go and get them. It also reverts me to this. That means your tight ends coach is probably not going to do anything involving special teams. And I'm completely okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. I would expect a move to be made sooner rather than later when it comes to that. I've been saying that since Monday, but I mean, things need to be finalized. You know where I sit at tight end, but I think that the sport is changing, especially from a coaching staff perspective. I know that there are other factors involved, like revenue sharing and other things that you got to cut fat and trim fat. But if I'm going to spend money, and if I'm going to spend money on coaches or administration or personnel, why not get him on the field? Guys, you cannot have enough people that know what they're doing X's and O's wise. You can't have enough coordinators. You can't have enough people that just know the game of football, that really could dial it up and know what it is to be a coach. So we'll see if this Amon Anon thing is going to be finalized. Again, I keep wanting to call him Pro Football Focus. But Football Scoop announced it literally as your boy was laying in bed last night. So we'll see. In reference to staff, let me say this too. I do not believe that you're remotely close to being done with analysts. Here does come some sourcing. I think LSU continues. I'm not even going to say think. LSU does continue to have conversations, interviews with coaches around the country. I do think it's going to be interesting that if there are some people that are out there that may even be big name, that could find their way to LSU, and let's see if LSU can land a couple. I'm hiring 3 or 4 more. I'm hiring 2 for offense, 2 for defense, and I am bringing in a tight ends coach. It's what I would do. But I do know that conversations at minimum are happening with people in the administration and on the coaching staff for potential analyst roles. That I can confirm. But what I do think is going to be interesting to see is where they pull the trigger on hiring some of these analysts, and what do you do at tight end? I'm really fascinated by this hire if it goes through fruition with Amon Anon. I am. The one hesitation that I do have is that when coaches take big leaps, because you're going to be telling him to run your special teams. I don't see a world where you wouldn't be doing that. It's a big leap. You need it, though. Hopefully this young man, I say young man like we're not close to the same age. I hope that he knocks it out of the park. A couple more things about LSU football before we hit a break and talk some baseball here. Do you remember 2011? I know all of you remember 2011. Do you remember when LSU played Auburn and Jarvis Landry, the former 5-star, went down on kick return and lit somebody up and knocked her. Didn't he knock somebody's tooth out? Y'all remember that? I don't remember having a team outside of 2019, probably, that there'd be somebody that would run down the field and just knock your block off. I don't remember us having that level of success. I hope that this does bring some intensity to it too. You need it. I don't want you to be friends with players. I want you to be a motherfucker. That's what I want. I'm tired of being passive in certain situations. I'm tired of being passive running the football, special teams, getting bullied when we're trying to line up for a field goal. Hell, I'm tired of missing field goals in general that are relatively close field goals. I'm tired of bad snaps. I'm tired of bad holds. I'm tired of bad punts. Because when's the last time, and I know we did one of them this year, when's the last time that we had somebody that at punter where you were like, man, I know this isn't a big situation, but somebody that really could boot a punt and down somebody inside the 10 to 5-yard line? It's not. We haven't had that. Make them go 90 yards on your ass, which I'm sure LSU would find a way to allow that to happen. So, yeah. All right, let's take a couple of questions, thoughts, concerns. Jerry Mitchell says it never been released yet, but I do believe we got it right for him. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Spectrum Wellcare says Tommy Reeves is the new OC for the Browns. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The Tommy Reese thing is kind of sailed for quite a while. Dorian says Juice P-laid that guy. He was blowing snot bubbles. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Listen, man, it's just how I feel. John Turner says, you said Frank coached tight ends during the bowl game prep. Well, not only I said it, BK confirmed after we had said it, BK came out and confirmed that Frank had been coaching tight ends. Would Frank coach tight ends and the new coach take over running backs? I highly doubt it. Now, could that happen? Sure, that could happen. I'm not stopping anything. Frank Wilson ain't coaching no damn tight ends. And unless something changes, very likely could happen. I shouldn't say that there's not a possibility. I would need to see it happen before I'm like, oh man, this really happened. You get what I'm saying, John? Like, I'm not. I just can't see it. But if it did happen, I don't know if it would be the worst thing in the world. I think Frank's got a lot on his plate. I think the running back rotation has taken a hit because of it. It's a big year for the running back room, man. It's a massive year for the running back room. But look, dog, that room got to get with it. I hope somebody in that room, and I think Caden Durham, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think Caden Durham is an alpha male. Really, I do. I've been around him. I've talked to him a lot. I think he's an alpha male. I hope that he takes that room and leads that room and that everybody comes together and they have a massive offseason. Now that young man is going into a sophomore season, I think that could happen. I have a lot of faith that it could happen. A lot of faith that it could happen. But he is an alpha male. Through and through. Like, I'll never forget, I spent some time in Dallas a couple summers ago, and Colin Simmons showed up late to an event. And me and my brother were sitting there. Me and my brother Brett were sitting there. And Caden Durham had some choice words. Hey, man. And he wasn't joking around. Hey, man, why are you late? Like, this dude wouldn't be late for you. It was something, it was the Decorian Moore commitment. Why are you late? This dude wouldn't be late for what you do. Why are you late for him? I hope that level of leadership comes out here. And I think that it will. I do think that it will. And we were all sitting at the table when all this happened. I'm like, damn. He wasn't holding back from nothing. Caden Durham don't care, bro. He'll tell you exactly how it is. And I love that. I love that in a player. I do think the room as a whole has severe talent. They got to find a way to put it together. Does win or does Trey Huntley ever come back? If Trey Huntley comes back, Caleb Jackson's in trouble. He's in trouble. Without a doubt. And I hope that you can get him back. I hope that all that works out and that he comes back, and I hope that he turns it on. You got to have a big year running the football, man. I don't know what Amon Anon does outside of special teams. He's been at running back. He was at Texas Southern. What happens? You know what happens when he's not coaching special teams? Can he fill multiple roles? It's going to be a big question. All right. Frank ain't giving that up his room. I don't, says Jerry. I agree with you. I can't see it. Could it happen? Sure. I just cannot, especially with Harlem Berry and Caden Durham being here. This is his room. This is Frank's room now. All right. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about LSU baseball briefly. Give about 5 or 10 minutes in that. And then, like we do on every Thursday, thoughts, questions, concerns, fire them in. Actually, do it right now. Any thought, question, concern, do us a favor. Throw it inside the chat right now. We'll get to it. Stay with us.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirement. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Sources. You know, I don't come out here and do this very often. I actually don't ever do it at all. Because it made me think about this when we hit the draft sound. I hate when LSU players go to NFC South teams. I have a lot of friends that are in the NFL, guys I grew up with, guys I've met over time. Ironically, one of them, we shared the next room when our daughters were being born. They had their daughter the same day that we had ours. In the same hospital, I might add. Will Campbell is trending towards Carolina. I talked to someone that in Carolina today. I'll just leave it here. I think Will Campbell, if he's there, that Carolina will take him. Now, it's January the 23rd. We have 3 months until the draft happens. Anything can happen by then. I think the people in the great state of Carolina love Will Campbell. He would be protecting Bryce Young. I would hate to see Will Campbell twice a year. I would hate it. I do think that there's a strong likelihood that could happen. All right, a couple of comments. I have your comments in here. Keep throwing them in here. Jacob talked about Joe Brady. Keep throwing in your comments, questions, concerns. I want to talk about LSU baseball very quickly, and then I'm going to get to all of them. So throw them in here. Yeah. I do think that LSU baseball is going to be absolutely loaded this year offensively. You know, last year LSU hit 114 home runs. They had a 284 batting average with 432 RBIs as a team. You had a lot of departures, but you also had a lot of additions. A lot of guys that were on the bench also entered the portal, which you replenished that very quickly through the transfer portal. There are probably 11 – well, no, they're not probably. There are 11 players from last year that – how do I want to say this? You have 11 players on your roster right now that were in college baseball a season ago. Some of them on your team, some of them you got from the portal. But 11 guys that were in college baseball a year ago, and I'm not talking about JUCO. Bear Jones, Danny Dickinson, Stephen Milam, Braswell, Jake Brown, Ashton Larson, Luis Hernandez, Eddie Yeaman, Dalton Beck, Josh Pearson, Chris Stanfield. Guys, of those 11 players that are likely going to be your everyday position guys, and I'm not even talking about the freshmen yet, which I'll get to in just a moment. Guys, a season ago, all 11 of those players that were in college baseball a season ago, they had an average of a batting average of 315. Combined, they hit 131 home runs, 473 RBIs. Now, some of these guys that are enacted in that, like Luis Hernandez, who had over 20 home runs a year ago, played at Indiana State. It's a little bit different playing in Indiana State than playing in the SEC. I say that, though, and last year Texas A&M had 3 starters that were all SEC performers that played in the Ivy League before they came into the SEC, and both of them hit over 300. The third one hit 280. I think that this team that Jay Johnson has assembled, whether it be Danny Dickinson, Stephen Milam, Bear Jones, Braswell, Brown, Larson, Hernandez, Yeaman, Beck, Pearson, Stanfield, the guys that we've already seen in college baseball before, guys, only 9 are going to be out there. Only 9 are going to be at the plate. And quite frankly, I don't know how it's going to shake out and what you look like mid-April, May, June. I don't know how it's going to look. I think you're going to shift a lot of things up throughout the season and see what sticks. And by the way, Ethan Fry is a guy that I didn't even mention, just didn't get a lot of playing time a year ago. Can he finally break through and be a dude, be a guy? I think that this team is going to absolutely demolish baseballs. I think that you're going to see a little bit of a shift from Jay Johnson when it comes to philosophy on the base paths. Guys, Daniel Dickinson loves to steal bases. So does Chris Stansfield. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this team looks early on offensively. I think that you can make the argument that this team, from a talent v. talent standpoint, from an offensive side of things, is going to be arguably not only the best in the SEC, one of the best in the SEC, but one of the best in the country. Bear Jones hit 28 home runs. Luis Hernandez hit 23 home runs. You have power. You have guys that hit for a high average. The dudes that you have returning that were in college baseball last year hit above 300. That doesn't happen very often. And I'm not even talking about the very talented freshmen like Curiel and Cade that you brought in, along with the guy who demolished baseballs in JUCO last year and Blaze Priester. I have no idea how some of these positions are going to shake out. I don't know what you're going to look like behind the plate. Quite frankly, I know that Stephen Milam per Jay Johnson is going to move to the left side of the infield, but it doesn't really matter because I think offensively in the infield, you're pretty set. At first, it's going to be Barry Jones. At second, it's going to be Danny Dickinson. At short, it's going to be Stephen Milam, and I think that Michael Braswell is going to start at third. And I think based off of what you'll see, you're going to rotate and see how some different things stick. I, quite frankly, don't know what you're going to do in the outfield. I do think Josh Pearson is going to get the day one opening day start because of him being a senior and how Jay does these kinds of things, and he should. But Curiel's going to be in there because I don't know how many holes I see in this lineup. Now, there is a question that you have, and there's a question I have about this team offensively. Can these guys in the portal like Danny Dickinson, Eddie Yaman the fourth, I say Yaman, he says Yaman, tomato. What do they look like coming in from into a new league, the best league in college baseball? That will be a very big question. There's also a thought process that I have, though, is that I think that you're going to demolish the baseball. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know how it's going to turn and how things are going to end. But one thing I know for sure is that when I look at this team, I think you're going to kill it. And the problem is that I think that, and it's a good problem, the problem that I think that Jay Johnson has at the current moment is that he's going to have 3 or 4 guys that are going to be on the bench that can also absolutely demolish the baseball. What do you do with Jake Brown? What do you do with Ashton Larson? What do you do with Chris Stanfield? Which I think Chris Stanfield is going to be your day one center fielder. What are you doing right? What are you doing left? I don't know. What I do know is that whatever lineup that you run out there, I think that you're equipped to make a trip to Omaha. I do. There are some things that I worry about. I worry about this pitching staff, especially in the bullpen. I worry about you defensively. I really do. But, man, I think that this is Jay Johnson baseball. And I think you're going to hit for a ton. I think you're going to score a lot of runs. I think you're going to hit for some power. I think you're going to kill it. So offensively, I do think this team is going to be very good. An average of 315 from 11 guys that were in college baseball last year. And again, some of the guys that weren't even – I didn't even list the guys that were in JUCO a year ago, which Blaze Priester – I mean, here's the truth about Blaze Priester. Guys, I don't know how much you follow college baseball or LSU baseball during the offseason, but he's hitting the ball harder than anybody, not named Bear Jones. From a velo exit standpoint, Blaze Priester is always up there. When you're hitting the ball that hard, Jay Johnson's going to give you a shot. It's going to be interesting to see. Okay. We had some thoughts, questions, concerns before we get out of here. So let's get to a couple of them. Corey Hunt says, Blake, do you trust our offensive coordinators? What do you mean by trust? Do I think that offensive play calling can be better next year? Yes. Do I think that Joe Sloan gets hit a little too hard in some aspects? Yes, I do. I do. I think that there are some things that Garrett flat out missed, and it happened a lot in moments. And there are a lot of things that happened in the second half where you missed. I don't know if Joe is good enough in the running game. I don't. I really don't. So do I trust him in the passing game? Yes. Do I trust you in the running game? Hell no. Hell no, I don't. David says, who are you hearing are the top high school players for next season? Well, I mean, look, you could go to, David, some of the guys in state, like you have Lamar Brown, Blaine Bradford, Rich Anderson, Aiden Hall, Jabari Mack. A lot of those guys are even committed to you. Darius McKinley, Dylan Berryman, a lot of those guys. From a national perspective, I don't know where you sit for some of these top 10, top 20 guys outside of Lamar Brown. I really don't. It will get interesting. The 2026 class will be very interesting. But in state, those are the guys that you're after, for sure. John Turner says, I graduated from Farmerville. I play football with Trey's father. It's sad it's taking so long, but yeah, Trey showed flashes when he got in his freshman year. Yeah, look, man, the court system is not a slow process. And listen, somebody got severely hurt in that incident. I think it's a tough situation. I'm just going to leave it there. I think Trey thinks that he's doing the right thing, but he's not doing the right thing because his future's in jeopardy. I think some of you from the 318, especially around Farmerville, know exactly what I'm talking about. I think our society says that you don't give people up to the law. But, man, I'm just going to be real with you. I'm not risking my future because you did something stupid. And maybe Trey did do it. I don't know. I don't think that he did, but I wasn't there. I have no clue. Jacob Marceau says, so is Joe Brady going to be the next head coach of the Saints? Boy, I hope so. We would actually talk Saints on this show if he was. I love Joe. You do too. I know all of you do too. In reference to Joe Brady, listen, I think whoever the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints is going to be, you got to have a full rebuild. Now, there was some stuff out there today about Derek Carr and trade rumors to the Giants and all his Rudy Poo-ness. I hope he does get traded. I don't know if this class of quarterbacks is somewhere where you would move up to go get one, but I don't know who you roll with. Are you rolling with Spencer Rattler? Whoever your next head coach is, man, it's a full rebuild. It's a full rebuild. The Saints are old. They are not getting younger. They're not drafting well. Guys, you got a lot of things that you got to rebuild on. You're not ready. And let me tell you what's going to happen. The Saints are going to go out there in a game one, preseason game one, and they're going to look like a Super Bowl team. They're going to go 2-0 in the beginning of the season, then they're going to shit their pants without a diaper on. They're going to shart themselves. They're not good enough. They don't have the dudes. And quite frankly, in the NFL, here's a little-known secret that everybody knows. If you do not have a quarterback that can overcome deficits and overcome deficiencies, you're not going to win shit. And Derek Carr is not that. I don't mind Derek Carr being your quarterback if everything else around him is top-notch. He can game manage you to wins. But when everything else around him crumbles, he is not going to propel you into anything special. So if Joe Brady comes here, you got to give him at least 4 years. Todd Davis says, ask Blake Elijah Hava information. I don't really have anything, Todd, really. Other than everybody in the country wants him. That's about all. He also says recruitment. I mean, same old. Carver says, my issue with Sloan, he abandoned the run too much. No doubt. No doubt. They got to get better there. I mean, guys, listen. The book is out about how to win in college football right now. And you're not doing it. You can hate me for it. You can say I'm being negative, but here's the truth. I'm going to tell you, because nobody else will tell you the truth, I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth of the matter is that if you cannot play good defensively and run the football, you're going to get your ass whooped. The national champions of the last 6 years, you as a team being LSU and you as an organization were one of these. You were good defensively and you could run the football. Now, Joe Burrow is not something that you see every year. It's not. But my God, the 2 years of Georgia, when they went 29-1, what did they do? They ran the football. They were really good defensively. That is the strategy. Michigan, Ohio State. Guys, Ohio State was the number one total defense this year. They were number one scoring defense this year. You can think that I'm being negative. Guys, you are 104th in the running game. You are in the mid-50s in total defense. You think that you're ready to do that? No, you're not. And even in 2019, guys, you were 29th in total defense. 29th. And the games that your defense pissed down their leg, Joe Burrow saved you. You're not ready. You're not ready. All right. We'll see y'all soon. I will make this announcement. If there is something confirmed about a tight ends coach, we'll certainly let you know. I don't know if we'll be live, but we'll definitely do something. Until then, y'all have a good one, man. Have a good night. Peace.